hello. Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome to stream. It's Oscar. Oh my god. Okay, before we do anything, we are on chapter 30 on volume 4 called Honeymoon on page 223. Yippee! Okay, now we can chat first. Yes, on my starting screen on the Game Boy Advance, it has the fucking Ice Age game. You wanna know why? You wanna know why? Because I wasn't allowed to have game consoles. Well, not that I wasn't allowed, but there were so many kids in my family that it's like, this is not a purchase that my parents were willing to make. Because all that's gonna happen is we're gonna fight over it every day, all day. All day, every day. So my friend gave me her old Game Boy because she got a new one, and then I had that, but we couldn't get any new games, so we just had the games that she had or that she didn't want, and it was the Ice Age game. Oh man, that's something. So I'm very sniffly today. I have tea. Do you have tea? You should have tea. You should have tea. I also had coffee earlier, so I'm a little weird. And by little, I mean very. But yeah, all we're doing is reading today. We're gonna be reading more of Scum Villain. If you don't know what that is, why the fuck are you here? What are you doing? We're on the last volume. Okay, my body's weird today. But yep. How you doing? How you doing today? How's your day going? Let me know. Let's chat a little. Hey chat, let's chat. Oh, fucking hell. Honestly, picking up my mug, even just that hurts my hand. That's so fun. That's so fun. I love that. I have compression gloves on both hands and a brace on my right hand as well. It's fun. Also, still haven't picked up my bigger brace that they delivered downstairs next to the elevator, not even to the mailroom or any fucking shit. Oh, they didn't even fucking try. Anyway, really sleepy? All right. Well, now's the time to be. I don't think I can drink this yet. I'm gonna have some water first before we start. Oh, sorry. Then I'll get into the tea. But yeah, let's read. No, it's just I have to ask, and there's never anyone at the front desk. It's complicated. How much longer did you guys go last night? Oh man, we went for almost 7 hours. Or I streamed for almost 7 hours. Foxy was streaming for like 12 hours. Oh, stupid. But yeah. Let's get started on the reading. Honeymoon. Honeymoon. They're so gay. They're so stupid and gay. They're so stupid and gay. I don't know them. I don't know them so much. Hopefully we're reading 2 chapters today. We might read 3, but we'll see how we do it. We'll see how it goes. The last chapter is kind of long, but not like long enough for like one stream. So either we do 2 chapters today and then we do a short stream next week, or we just do a really long stream today. We'll see. We'll see. More spicy. I think in the last chapter it gets spicy, doesn't it? I don't remember. I think so, but not as spicy. But yeah, we're not on that yet. We're on chapter 30, not 32. Alright, that's okay. Let's get into it. After harboring the devil incarnate Lobinka for a dozen or so days, Qingjing Peak's disciples finally couldn't take the harassment anymore and begged Shen Qingqiu to take the person in question to lie low. Shizun, I hate Baizhan Peak, Ning Ying whined. Hate! They're such brutes! They've destroyed the mountain gates so many times already! Shizun, I really didn't tell them this time. This disciple swears, you have to believe me, Mingfan complained tearfully. He nervously glanced at Lobinka. Why not let Luoshidi out to spar with them a few times? After beating them up enough times, they'll no longer dare to harass Qingjing Peak. Lobinka was utterly unmoved. Shizun, I barely have any time to discuss business. Where would I get the extra hours to spar with those wild monkeys? Shen Qingqiu demurely waved his fan, unspeaking. To be fair, this so-called discussing business was more researching new dishes, cleaning the bamboo house's cutlery and furniture, and coming to act cute and sweet with all those propositions, no matter the time and location. He's such a bullshitter. Mingfan sniveled tearfully as he wailed, Shizun, do something! Onding Peak, no longer willing to come fix our... what? Oh, he's still speaking. My bad. Do something. Onding Peak is no longer willing to come fix our gates. Every time this disciple has to descend and ascend the mountain, traveling several hundred kilometers and spending out of his own purse. His howling annoyed Shen Qingqiu to no end. Ultimately, he finally and magnanimously did a great deed. Accompanied by Mingfan's overwhelming gratitude and Ning Yingying's reluctance to see them go, the great master left Qingjing Peak. Hence, he was rather depressed. Shit, what the hell was this? Shidi had Shidi L had condoned his subordinates and minions' attack on Shishong S's gates. What the fuck is going on? And he hadn't even provided any compensation afterward. Having suffered economic losses, Shishong S went to Shidi X's department to request an allocation of public funds, but Shidi X refused to approve it. Why are we beeping out their names? I don't understand. What is happening? What? It's like the L dash S dash 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 dash. I don't understand why we're doing this. Then Disciple M not only demonstrated zero selfless spirit with regards to contributing to the collective funds, he even kicked his own master off the mountain. Traitors, the lot of you. That said, Lobinka looked very happy. As long as he could cling to Shen Qingqiu, anywhere they went was the same in his eyes. Plus, it was more in line with his desires to not have any group of eyesores hovering over them every day. Shizun, where shall we go next? He said in delight, tugging on Shen Qingqiu's arm. Shen Qingqiu glanced down at Lobinka's pose, at how he had encircled his arm with both of his own, and found it hard to look. He really was becoming more and more like a maiden. They looked exactly like two mushroom-picking little girls walking out the door hand in hand. Oh my god, there's this cow emoji with the holding hand and go that's a footnote. A Chinese nursery rhyme. Cool. Shen Qingqiu was blasted by his own man-made landmine. He asked in response, Do you have anywhere you'd like to go? Lobinka gave it some thought. How about we go to places... Ooh, this is Lobinka, right? How about we go to places we've been to in the past to see how they've changed? Thereafter, the two arrived at the first stop following their eviction from Sangchong Mountain, Shuanghu City. Originally, Shen Qingqiu had intended to go by sword, which would have let them arrive within an instant's time. But Lobinka seemed to have gotten some kind of idea in his head and insisted that they use a carriage. Using one was fine. Shen Qingqiu didn't care either way. Who could have guessed that after they got on the carriage, Lobinka would use that shyly expectant expression that he thought he was hiding well, to stare at him. The carriage interior wasn't very large, so Shen Qingqiu had nowhere to run. He took that burning stare until his hair stood on end. Are you asking for car sex? Don't even think about it. This master absolutely won't agree. You really are a traitor. Lobinka stared at him for a long time, but when he saw no particular gestures from Shen Qingqiu, meaning they weren't of one heart, his head slowly drooped. He prodded his fingers together cutely. Shizun, don't you remember? He asked, a bit at a loss. I completely, I was trying, before I started this, I was trying to remember what the fuck happens in this chapter. I completely forgot everything that happens in this chapter, so this is wonderful. It's like I'm experiencing it for the first time. Shen Qingqiu realized that then, when it came to his everyday internal monologue, it basically always started with a beat of silence. Remember? He asked. Remember what? Lobinka was disappointed. Back when the Qingjing Peak disciples left the mountain together for a training exercise, you let me ride with you. To think Lobinka remembered even such dusty old affairs with such clarity. Meanwhile, Shen Qingqiu had pretty much forgotten most of it. Lobinka sighed. So, Shizun really doesn't remember. Faced with this contrast, Shen Qingqiu couldn't help but feel guilty. He waved his hand, letting Lobinka lean against him, then rubbed his cheek to pacify him. Shizun only temporarily forgot. I'm sorry. Having been pacified, Lobinka was satisfied, his lips curving upward. Shizun's acts of kindness toward me far surpassed this moment. How could he remember each and every one? Pure silence. Could you not headcanon me as such a loving, holy father? I really had just forgotten. I can't live up to your divine expectations. Scene break. Or paragraph gap. I'm sorry. Shen Qingqiu and Lobinka wandered leisurely down the main road past Shanghu City's gates, stalls crammed with eye-catching goods bordering them on either side. In the middle of it all, a gorgeous banner fluttered in the breeze. Shen Qingqiu's gaze was drawn to the banner before it dropped to the face of the stall owner sitting beneath it. His smile, with its trademark, subtle, looking warm and elegant at first glance, but in truth cool and lofty, cast froze upon his lips. Lobinka was far too sharp. What's wrong, Shizun? He asked instantly. An acquaintance? Crowds thronged around the small table below the banner. It seemed to be a Jianghu fortune-teller's stall. Behind that table sat a beautiful and sultry woman, radiating 1,000 types of grace. With a toss of her fine hair and a lift of her lovely face, she met Shen Qingqiu's eyes from a distance, and promptly looked like she'd swallowed a kilogram of arsenic. What the fuck is happening? But then her gaze turned and landed on the face of Lobinka, who stood beside him. Her love for this specific type of man came first above all, and her eyes shone with a sudden bright light. So she took the initiative to greet him. I trust that the immortal master has been well. It's been a while, said Shen Qingqiu. This madam is even lovelier than she was when we met last time. Nope, that's not what he said, but it is what he said. When last we met. He said it with more flair. This beautiful woman was Madame Mei Yin. She waved away the enamored male customers by her table, clearing out space for them, while smiling delightedly. The immortal master is radiant with happiness today, so did my words from our last meeting not all prove true? Though she was certainly talking to Shen Qingqiu, her eyes were turned in Lobinka's direction, and her flirtatious air was both enchanting and seductive, making clear her true intentions. It had been a long time since Shen Qingqiu recalled the fortune Madame Mei Yin had told for him way back when, but the key words had been younger, illustrious status, outstanding talent, first-class beauty, often together, deeply in love. Shen Qingqiu realized with a shock that every single one had been dead on. This Shen deeply admires the madam's skill, he he said. However, it seems that back then you forgot to tell me the most important thing. She'd gone on and on, hyping it all up until it had practically been raining flowers, but she'd failed to say, Shenjingcho, your fated partner, is a fucking man. Lobinka blinked a little, then smiled. Shizen, your relationship with this madam seems quite intimate. I think now is the time to bring up an illustration. Yippee! Oh, he's such a bitch. Oh, Lobinka. Oh, Lobinka. Oh, Lobinka. Oh, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Though he was smiling at these words, Shenjingzhou felt a toothache coming on. When he thought about it, Lobinka and Madame Mayen had originally been meant to be a pair of cheaters who engaged in countless one-night stands. But now they sat very properly opposite one another as they each talked past the other, and the atmosphere was supremely uncomfortable. Indeed, it made for an extremely unsettling picture. Shenjingzhou gave a hollow laugh. It's not intimate. Not intimate at all. It had been many years since we met. I never thought we'd meet again in the Jianghu, nor that the madam would have started this sort of business in Shanghai City. Madame Mayen humphed. Isn't this all thanks to that cultivator who accompanied your distinguished self on your previous patronage? Which cultivator? Lobinka suddenly said. Shenjingzhou's face froze a second time. Madame Mayen commenced angrily, complaining, Don't blame me for speaking badly behind his back, but when you came, we extended such a courteous invitation, and we treated neither of you immortal masters poorly. Yet he was truly incredible, collapsing half my cavern right off the bat and scaring away most of my sisters. The next few times we met, he wouldn't leave me even the slightest bit of face. I lived for a long time. Yes, I've lived for a long time, but I've never met such an unfeeling man, one who understands neither romance nor tenderness, who only runs about fighting and killing. Pah! Your name's been spat on, Lucinga. You've actually been spat upon. They should, hate fuck or something. I don't know. Just saying. The kind of violent actions described could only be attributed to one person. Of course Lobinka understood, and he stared at Shenjingzhou. Shizen, was it Lu Shishu? When did you leave Sangchong Mountain alone together? Shenjingzhou saw the veins bulging on his forehead and coughed dryly. That was when you were absent. Lobinka pinched his palm hard. Shizen, could you give a concrete explanation to your disciple as to what exactly happened between you, Lu Shishu, and this succubus, who's as beautiful as a flower? Coaxing Lobinka was already a piece of cake for Shenjingzhou. The steps were, first, calmly say, not as beautiful as you. Then, before Madame Mayen's spasming smile, promise, nothing happened, really. If this doesn't work, repeat steps 1 and 2. Madame Mayen clearly thought the flames hadn't been fanned high enough. I did throw some of your succubus's mesmerizing fragrance on that cultivator you were with before I left, she said from the side, though, given his frigid nature, I doubt it was much of a problem. The succubus's mesmerizing fragrance. Fragrance? Fragrance. The name alone told you everything. An aphrodisiac. Lobinka's face was rapidly filled with rage. Nothing happened? I swear to the heavens, really, nothing happened. I didn't even have time. Nope, that's not what he said. I didn't even have to jerk him off. That's what he said. Lobinka was both jealous and bitter. This disciple was in the endless abyss cutting his way through thorns, while Shizen was surrounded with green hills and crystal waters and enjoying himself with other men. What the hell do you mean, other men? Can't you use proper terms like colleagues or sex siblings? Shenjingzhou waved his fan with incomparable integrity and humphed. What do you mean by enjoying himself? In a desolate mountain full of frenzied monsters, one person kicks the other into a freezing watering hole and gives them pneumonia. What's there to envy in something like that? That's all. That's all. Madame Mayin chewed her nails. What do you mean, watering hole? She said hatefully. That was my beloved rose pool. Now there's a scene break. And I kind of have to go to the bathroom. I should have gone before I started, but I was too busy making tea. So let me pop off. Let me pop off to the bathroom real quick. let me do that real quick. I'll see you in a second. Baby. Alright, we're back. Alright, we're back. Also, I have noticed that my streams are lagging way less now that I updated my computer. Anyway, we're on page... what are we on? 331. Yippee! Continuing. Since they'd come to Since they'd come to Shuanghu City, naturally they need to look for something to do. For example, they ought to at least eliminate some pests for the civilians. After asking around, it turned out that Chen Manor was yet again experiencing strange incidents. That one year, the wicked, vicious Skinner demon had transformed into the old master's beloved concubine, Deer, and hidden within his manor. After they killed her, the room in the wing where she'd once lived had been the site of continuous disturbances. Every night, every night there were wails and screams that sent all the residents into a panic. This had remained unresolved for years. Counselor Chen was already approaching 70 years old. His hair was a snowy white, but his ambitions were the same as ever. Many years ago, for better or worse, the only lovely concubine clinging to him had been Deer, but today he had a girl on either side, and they made for a beautiful pair of matching wives. The Skinner demon who lurked at his side in the past hadn't weakened his ardent passion for women in the slightest. This old gentleman was already of advanced age, but his memory was by no means poor. When he saw Shen Qingqiu, he even loudly called out to him, "Immortal Master Shen!" Immortal Master Shen's lofty aloofness was the same as it had been last time around. He waited until old Master Chen was asked about the young master beside him, then finally tugged his lip up a little and said gently, "This is indeed my oh my god. This is indeed my little disciple from back then." I'm fine. It's just that I'm fine. It's just that I'm fine. Hang on, give me a second. Okay. Where the fuck was I? Lick what? What? Oh. What? Oh, okay. Old Master Chen smiled. No wonder he looked so familiar. Only after seeing this immortal master and his beloved disciple together did I realize how many years had passed. The conventional exchange of greetings was naturally handed to Luo Bingke, who'd already assumed his former role as the little secretary who handled everything. Shen Qingqiu was happy to stand aside and shut his mouth, sliding into his badass poser act. As he watched the badass darkened demon Lord Luo Bingke work patiently, acting as sweet as a true apple of his eye, Shen Qingqiu inevitably began to float with happiness. He's such a pervert! It felt so wonderful. His gaze on Luo Bingke couldn't help but fill with more and more parental affection. Meanwhile, with every 2 lines Luo Bingke spoke, he looked over at Shen Qingqiu as well. And once his gaze shifted over, he was unable to leave. It was unable to leave. In this way, master and disciple spent a long period of time making eyes at each other before Shen Qingqiu suddenly and finally snapped out of it. They're stop doing this in public, you fucking freaks. That's all. How immoral were they being? Thank you, Shen Qingqiu. On their way to the room in question, Luo Bingke kept trying to hold his hand. Shen Qingqiu was 1, worried about outsiders, and 2, wanted to tease him, so he purposely refused to let him. The 2 of them skirted around each other, around each other, whipping out all sorts of tricks. If anyone from the cultivation world or demon realm had seen this master-disciple duo using their sex techniques to play fight, in parentheses, flirt, until those arts were unrecognizable, they would definitely have coughed up 3 liters of blood. As no one dared to approach the room that was rumored to be haunted, it was naturally very quiet and peaceful. The courtyard was the same courtyard as it had been when they last saw it. It hadn't changed at all, except for the considerable amount of yin energy. When he saw that, at least, there were no people around. What? When he saw that, Let me read that again. When he saw that, at last, there were no people around, Luo Bingke lashed onto Shen Qingqiu without delay, rubbing against him as he held his waist from behind, his chin hooking over Shen Qingqiu's shoulder. He asked in a whisper, "Does Shizun remember this place?" They're sick! Beep, 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 beep. Of course he remembered. Wasn't this the place where he'd first turned on easy mode? Alright, that was a joke. How could he not remember? This was the place where he'd screwed Luo Bingke over for the first time, and so terribly. Back then, in order to preserve his own life, he'd almost let the Skinner demon strike Luo Bingke on the head. It had been a rather unkind thing to do, and now that he'd recalled it, he even felt bad. He was too ashamed to think about it deeply. When he didn't answer, Luo Bingke began to bitterly complain. "Shizun, you've really forgotten? This disciple is so anguished." Shut up. Ever since the two of them had begun fooling around, it says that, it's in parentheses, Luo Bingke hadn't been able to pass a single day without becoming anguished at least several dozen times. When Shen Qingqiu spoke a couple of words to other people, he'd become anguished. When Shen Qingqiu took 2 fewer bites, he'd become anguished. When Shen Qingqiu complained that the bathtub was too small and kicked him out, he'd again become anguished. His anguish was like snacking on broad beans. Showed up with a snap, then disappeared with another snap. But now that he was standing at the scene of his former crimes, Shen Qingqiu felt guilty and couldn't help but soften a little. His roast of crazy demon dissipated before it could be posted. He quickly reached up and patted Luo Bingke's cheek. "Don't be angry. Today, Shizun will grant you one request, but let's deal with the evil spirit here first." Luo Bingke was delighted. "Really? When has Shizun ever—" Shen Qingqiu was about to continue, but he shortly shut his mouth to avoid tragically embarrassing himself. Whether he finished with "lied to you" or "screwed you over," both would basically be slapping himself in the face. "Since Shizun said so," Luo Bingke pulled out length after length of red rope. His face flushed. I forgot about this. Do they even do it? I don't remember. I really don't. I can't remember what if. Oh my god. Oh my god, I really can't remember. I can't. Hello, immortal binding cable. Goodbye, immortal binding cable. When Luo Bingke saw Shen Qingqiu's look of sheer disbelief, he didn't force it. He just sighed, staring up at the sky. "For some reason," he said softly, "ever since the day this disciple safely escaped from the Skinner demon, on many nights he experienced strange dreams." What do you mean by strange dreams? The kind of dream where you have to wash your underwear after waking up? Yes, this is what he means, Shen Qingqiu. Just remember, bitch! Bitch! Shen Qingqiu had sinned. It turned out that he had even been... Are you just realizing this now, you idiot? It turned out that he had even been the pubescent Luo Bingke's Sexual Awakening 101 instructor. A person's object of sexual epiphany was very important, even if it wasn't a mega... What the fuck? A mega buxom older lady with all her flowing curves. It ought to at least be a slender, young, delicate young girl with a demure personality. Luo Bingke's life was so unbelievably tragic that it was hard to sum up. The one who'd given him his sexual awakening had a goddamn hot dog. I hate him. Shen Qingqiu wanted to bow to him while crying in sympathy. But no matter how sympathetic, Shen Qingqiu would not give in. Though Luo Binghe's endless pestering and wheedling had ground away most of his integrity, every little bit he could retrieve counted. Buxom? Buxom? What does that fucking mean? What does that even mean? I think I know what it means, but what does it mean? I've never seen that word before. Even more importantly, can we deal with official business first? There's a cloud of black fog gathering behind you. It's here. It's appeared. Curvy? Yeah, I think so. I mean, given the context. Luo Binghe acted like he hadn't noticed a thing and continued giving voice to his anxieties. Even now, this disciple is at times tormented by this dream. Tormented, I'm sure it's so hard for you, Luo Binghe. It's so hard. If he'd said, in days past, it might have been believable, but a Luo Binghe who had mastered controlling dream realms being tormented by them, this lie was way too thick-faced and shameless, and said with all confidence at that. Shen Qingqiu put his hand on Shu Ya and lightly chuckled. So? Luo Binghe didn't even turn his head. The black fog couldn't take it anymore. Beepers! It's an and symbol, it's a star, it's a percentage symbol, it's a yen symbol, it's a hashtag or pound symbol, it's a at symbol, it's an and, it's a bunch of explosives, okay? It snarled. Are you both blind? Can't you see me? This voice was very familiar, like that of a dear friend. Dear? Asked Shen Qingqiu. Don't dear me. I'm me, the black fog snapped. I'm the Skinner demon who once struck fear into the city. Shen Qingqiu was speechless. Was this really that insignificant monster that he'd killed with a slap during a beginner-level quest? So the rumored vengeful spirit had been this guy all along. In both life and death, they didn't forget to harass the residents of this manor. What a work ethic. What a work ethic. The black fog forcefully spat out a mass of black smoke. Shen Qingqiu guessed that to them, this was the same as spitting out a mouthful of saliva. You two adulterers dare come to fool around before me, completely unaware of your impending death, they snapped. Luo Binghe furrowed his brow. Shizun, should we just kill them or capture them for later interrogation? Shen Qingqiu wanted to see just how stupid the black fog could get, so he raised his hand, signaling for Luo Binghe to stay still for now. The black fog made a questioning sound, then drifted closer to Shen Qingqiu. You look a bit familiar. Of course I look familiar. The culprit who murdered you is standing right before your eyes, and all you can do is doubtfully say, you look a bit familiar. How many years had passed? It had to have been at least 10, so under the powerful influence of easy mode, Deer's IQ hadn't increased in the slightest, and their memory had even declined quite a bit. Shen Qingqiu coughed once, then reminded them, This Shen is the Qingjing Peak Lord. A silence, and then the black fog exploded. Shen Qingqiu! So it was you! Then who is he? You know him too, Shen Qingqiu said reluctantly. He was also at the scene that time. After the black fog thought for a while, understanding suddenly dawned on them. He's your little whelp of a disciple! Ha 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 ha! A lot of ha's. Now that Deer had finally remembered, they laughed madly without pause. Shen Qingqiu, good and evil both receive their due. Heaven enforces karma for all. To think you actually got by your own disciple. What an utter disgrace! Absolutely disgusting. I just knew that someone would come to exact heavenly justice. Shen Qingqiu had no words. No, that's wrong. As a demon who's committed many evils and received its due retribution, which is to say, dying in a single slap from someone exacting heavenly justice. A line like good and evil both receive their dues, heaven enforces karma for all, doesn't really suit you, does it? As the black fog laughed and laughed, something strange happened. It was as if a great wind blew by, scattering a mass of smoke, and the black fog gradually dissipated. Only a final black wisp remained, and it was still sighing in satisfaction. Retribution, retribution. Shenxingqiu, you've finally met retribution. Serves you right. I can now die without regrets. Had they become a Buddha, ascended to heaven, been exorcised, their bar for dying without regrets were surely a bit too low. And no matter how troublesome Lo Binka was, it wasn't to the point that he could be called retribution. The yin energy within the courtyard suddenly vanished. Shizun, shall we continue? Asked Lo Binka. Shenxingqiu's lips, where was I? Shenxingqiu's lips twisted, and he looked at Lo Binka, who was still clutching his handful of immortal binding cables. At a loss for words, he said, "What do you want to continue?" Didn't Shizun say that he would grant me one request today? So my request is to ask if Shizun would deign to cooperate a little and allow this disciple to lightly tie him up with this immortal binding cable, then stay bound for a while so that dream can come true and fulfill this disciple's years-long wish. Then this disciple can die without regrets. Oh, they're so gross! Oh, they're so gross! Oh, I love them. Oh, I love them. I love them so much. Shenxingqiu stared at them. Though deer had already peacefully ascended to heaven via their own inexplicable sense of self-satisfaction, Shenxingqiu felt like he couldn't return Shuya to its sheath just yet. He expressionlessly headed outside. Lo Binka ran in front of him, cutting him off. "Shizun, you promised." Shenxingqiu coldly pushed his hurt face out of the way. "Shizun, how could you do this to me again?" Lo Binka said accusingly. "What are you crying about? Even if you cry, it's no use. Don't embarrass us in front of outsiders." Sure enough, when it came to this little beast, tender feelings and sympathy were fully unnecessary. He took back his words. Lo Binka really was karmic retribution. And that's that chapter. That was their honeymoon? Oh, that's so stupid. Oh, that's so fucking stupid. Oh my god, I love it. Okay. Pause. Pause for a bit, because I need to breathe. I haven't been breathing very well. I think I'm reading too fast. That was Honeymoon. That was chapter 32. And now we are on the second last chapter called, if you give me a second to get comfortable again in my chair and not have a wedgie. Okay. Sometimes I hate wearing underwear. Anyway. The next chapter, chapter 31. Oh wait, we're on chapter 30. Right. The next chapter is chapter 31, called 100 Random Questions on Luo Shen's Affinity. You heard me. You heard me. Oh my god. Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. Okay. Oh, can I breathe? Oh. This next chapter is so stupid. You'll see when we read it, but it's so stupid. Burp counter. Hello, Mothman! Legendary chapter. It's I cannot believe that she put this in here. Like, it's the author's note of like, you know when it's like I'm reading a webcomic. So stupid. All right. What do I say I got for you? What? Huh? What are you talking about? Huh? Cat. Huh? Okay. Chapter 31. Let's do it. Oh god. Do I say this all in Airplane's voice? Do I say this all in Shangfei's voice? The questionnaire interviewees. Luo Binghe x Shen Qingqiu. The questionnaire interviewer. Airplane shooting towards the sky. The questionnaire provider. Oh, this is the system. The system. Airplane shooting towards the sky system had issued him a quest, an extremely bizarre questionnaire. He had no idea what the questionnaire was trying to ascertain. The further down he read, use a fancy voice. Oh. The further down he read, the more disturbing the questions became. But no matter how disturbing it was, he had to farm some points, didn't he? After abandoning his dignity, what little remained in the first place, the pleading with Master Shen Qingqiu, finally, reluctantly, agreed to bring along that disciple he'd raised for the purpose of completing this questionnaire. Now presenting live updates from Airplane. Is that a good intro? Is that a good intro voice? You know what I was channeling? I was channeling, and now it's time for Silly Songs with Larry, the part of the show where Larry comes out and sings a silly song. That's what I was channeling. Oh boy, here we go. Sorry. My bad. Your names, please? Asked Shang Qinghua. Having just sat down before hearing this question, Luo Binghe raised his eyebrow and said unhappily, "If you don't even know our names, why would you ask us anything?" Your ages? To tell the truth, Shen Qingqiu didn't really know the precise age of this body. He raised his head at Shang Qinghua. Wouldn't you know better than I do? Shang Qinghua twirled the brush in his hand. He'd never thought about this question either, so he figured he might as well just say whatever. Therefore, he randomly wrote a number down in a couple of strokes. Your genders. Having received 3 idiotic questions right off the bat, Luo Binghe had already stopped bothering to answer. Shen Qingqiu couldn't take it anymore either. We've been recategorized into the Green JJ's Danmei section. What do you think? Shang Qinghua silently drew a line through the next 30 or so similarly stupid questions, then started asking anew. How is your personality? Shen Qingqiu thought for a while. All right, probably. This Shen should be considered relatively easy to get along with. Don't know, said Luo Binghe. And what about your partner's personality? Shen Qingqiu began counting off traits. Crybaby, maiden-hearted, lovesick, chunibyo, and clingy. A watery shimmer shone in Luo Binghe's eyes. Having been disparaged, he felt a little hurt, but he still obediently answered the question. Naturally, Shizun's personality is the best, gentle, strong, and considerate. Shen Qingqiu fell silent. Suddenly, he felt a bit bad. What is this? He coughed dryly twice and changed his tune. Actually, this child's personality isn't too bad. Child? Don't call him a child! Oh my god. He has one good trait that is especially rare. He listens and does as he's asked. That's enough in itself. A blush rose on Luo Binghe's cheeks. Yo, VeggieTales, silly songs about I know, they were the best part. When did the two of you meet? Shang Qinghua asked in a monotone. in a monotone. And where? He already knew the answer to this question. The first time I met Shizun was right after I'd passed Sangcheng Mountain's initiation trials. Shen Qingqiu was feeling ill at ease. At the time, Luo Binghe had met the original flavor, not him, and it wasn't a particularly wonderful memory either. He waved his fan. Pass. What was your first impression of your partner? Luo Binghe continued to reminisce. A lofty, untouchable immortal, he said buoyantly. Buoyantly? How do you say something buoyantly? A small bun, Shen Qingqiu said frankly, and a handsome little sprout. What do you like about your partner? He listens to me well enough, Shen Qingqiu said kindly. Luo Binghe smiled. I like everything about Shizun. What do you hate? Nothing, Luo Binghe said firmly. Shen Qingqiu was a little moved by this resolute and decisive answer, so he reciprocated and also said, nothing. Besides, if he really said he hated something that made Luo Binghe cry in front of someone else, that would be way too shameful. How do you address your partner? Finding this dull, Luo Binghe turned his head. Shizun, these questions are ridiculous. Exactly what did we come here for? Be good, Binghe, Shen Qingqiu said calmly. It's just a formality. Think of it as saving your Shang Shishu's life. How do you want your partner to address you? Luo Binghe's face reddened. This bashful reaction made an ominous premonition well up inside Shen Qingqiu. He waved his hand. Pass. Having caught on to a possible point of interest, Shang Qinghua wheedled. What do you mean pass? If you just pass every single question, what's the point of even asking? Binghe, Shiji? Go ahead and say it. It's Shizhi. I don't know how to pronounce it. Luo Binghe nervously glanced at Shen Qingqiu out of the corner of his eye and quietly said, I'd like to be addressed in the way married couples normally address each other. Master Shen, did you hear that? Shang Qinghua asked instantly. Shiji. I don't know. Wants you to address him like you're married. Husband, hubby, honey, you choose one. You shut up, said Shang Qinghua. Nope, said Shen Qingqiu. Okay. If you were to compare your partner to an animal, what would they be? Without needing to think, Luo Binghe said, a white crane. I can't think of an animal, said Shen Qingqiu, but I do have a plant, a black lotus. Luo Binghe didn't understand. Shizun, do lotuses come in black too? If you were giving your partner a present, what would you choose, and what present would you like yourself? Oh my god, this is kind of really difficult to figure out who the fuck is speaking. So, yes. As long as Shizun says the word, I will give him anything he desires. I don't think there's anything I particularly want, Shen Qingqiu said honestly. As a peak lord, there really didn't seem to be anything that was hard for him to get. When he thought about it, it really did feel like he was sitting on top of a mountain of gold and letting it go to waste. Then I want Shizun to ignore everyone else and stay by my side for 3 days. Shang Qinghua licked the tip of his brush and muttered, Why not just have him stay by your side for a lifetime? Luo Binghe shook his head. Then Shizun would be unhappy. At the sight of his dejected appearance, like that of a grumbling woman, Shang Qinghua was tongue-tied with shock. Conversely, Shen Qingqiu was completely calm. Silly child, you're thinking wild thoughts again. Why would this master be unhappy? How far has your relationship regressed? Hang on, I'm sorry, I need to breathe. I'm getting a little dizzy. I'm reading too fast and not breathing enough. Should I just slow down? I should just slow down, Okay. We've done all the things we should have, and some things we shouldn't, said Shen Qingqiu. Why are there things we shouldn't have done? Lu Bingke asked, hurt. Does Shizen feel that we shouldn't have done it? No, if we really shouldn't have done it, this master wouldn't have let you do it. Where was your first date? Huanhua Water Palace Prison. Nope, that's not what he said. Huanhua Palace Water Prison, said Lu Bingke. He's a fucking pervert. He's a stupid fucking pervert. Shang Qinghua was silent. Shen Qingqiu was equally silent. Binge, you call that a date? I think that was Shang Qinghua saying that in his head. Because he said Binge. What was the mood between you at the time? Not very good, said Lu Bingke. That wasn't something that could be described as merely not very good. Where do your dates often take place? Shen Qingqiu rested his chin on his hand. The moment I open my eyes, I see him, and when I close my eyes, he's still the one I see in my dreams. Does that mean we're on dates all the time? Does Shizen find it annoying? Lu Bingke asked cautiously. Shen Qingqiu rubbed his back. No, you're just overthinking. Shang Qinghua thought that dating Bing Mei, sounded really fucking exhausting. It had only been a couple of questions, but Master Shen had already soothed him 3 times. This glass heart kept shattering and getting glued back together. Exactly when would it end? Fucking annoying. Shen Qingqiu is basically a kindergarten teacher who's taking care of a kid. Who was the first to confess? Me, said Lu Bingke. Of course it was him, said Shen Qingqiu. What things does your partner do that makes you feel helpless? Shen Qingqiu shrugged and said weakly, Whenever he starts to cry, there's nothing I can do. Whenever Shizen gets mad, I'm unable to do anything. Shang Qinghua hummed in acknowledgement, bouncing his leg. He wrote it down while roasting them in his heart. They really are exactly like a kindergartner and his teacher. I can't. Oh my god. When you're together, what makes your heart race the most? When he pats my head and gives me instructions, Lu Bingke said earnestly. Hey, by the way, can somebody head pat me because, or just redeem as something that is through my Mix It Up, because for some reason, it took like 2 minutes to actually open up. And like another 2 minutes to sign in. I don't know, it's been weird. It's just a test. When he tearfully begs me for something, said Shen Qingqiu. What was the question of this? When you're together, what makes your heart race the most? Okay. Oh, it worked! Thank you. Mix It Up is weird. Thank you. Lu Bingke went on. And also when he scolds me and hits me. Bingke! Bingke! He's writing this down! You can't just say that. He was acting awfully Twitter padded, but Shen Qingqiu was already very used to this. What is Twitter padded? What the fuck is Twitter padded? Shang Qinghua suddenly added a note beside Lu Bingke's name. A hopeless masochist beyond cure. Have you lied to your partner before? Are you good at lying? Right after asking this question, he confidently wrote the words, Big Fat Liar, after Lu Bingke's name. Yes, said Lu Bingke, but never again. Have you fought before? What kind of fights were they? Shen Jingzhou sighed. We fought a lot, and terribly too. Thinking about it, I don't know why we did. It could all have been avoided. Why do you keep asking these kinds of questions? Lobinka asked angrily. You're making Shizun unhappy for no reason. Shang Qinghua shrugged. My bad. How did you make up afterward? Shen Jingzhou waved his hand. We boned to save the world. Stupid. He's just saying this because he knows he already knows. Belly words. Is your relationship publicly known or secret? Have you ever heard the regret of Chunshan? Shen Jingzhou shot back. The questions after that were on a free fall in terms of degeneracy. Shang Qinghua cleared his throat. Are you the top or the bottom? Lobinka was uncomprehending. What does that mean? While Lobinka genuinely didn't understand, Shen Jingzhou pretended not to. He waved his fan. Who knows what it means? Pass, pass, pass. How did you decide? How did you decide that? He knows. He can see right fucking through him. He can see right fucking through him. Shen Jingzhou thought for a bit. I really don't know. Somehow it just happened that way. Probably because he looked pitiful. Lobinka was perplexed. I still don't know what he's asking. Shen Jingzhou patted the top of his head. It's all right if you don't understand, he said earnestly. You're not at a disadvantage in any way. Where did you have your first time? Shen Jingzhou was about to answer when Lobinka barged in. Qingjing Peak. Lobinka once again barged in. Qingjing Peak, the bamboo house. All right. Oh shit, sorry. Let's try. All right. He'll never acknowledge such a failure of a first time, Shen Jingzhou thought. Let it be Qingjing Peak. There's nothing worth arguing over. Let him answer however he likes. I won't correct him anymore. What were you feeling at that time? Shen Jingzhou was silent. If you were to be honest, it came down to 3 words. Pain, pain, and more pain. But saying this in front of the others would embarrass Lobinka far too much. Depressed, Lobinka said. Shizun was wonderful, but I was completely useless. The morning after your first night, what was the first thing you said? Shizun, breakfast is ready. Don't say anything else until you put your clothes on first. I'm sorry, was Lobinka naked while he was making him breakfast? Of course he was. Why the fuck wouldn't he be? Why wouldn't he be? Anyway. How many times do you do it in a month? Shen Jingzhou thought this was beyond ridiculous. Who's bored enough to count something like that? Also, why have the questions been constantly moving in such a strange direction? Roughly speaking, once every 3 days, Lobinka said seriously. If Shizun is happy, sometimes he'll let me touch him after only 2. Shang Qinghua chewed on the brush. I'm sorry, this word is catching me off guard while we're talking about this. Shang Qinghua chewed on the brush shaft, jotting down the records while muttering, "This is unscientific. According to the way I wrote him, even if he did it from the beginning of the month all the way to the end without taking a break, it shouldn't be a problem. Then, under normal circumstances, where do you get intimate?" He has an obsession with a bamboo house, said Shen Jingzhou. Lobinka smiled brightly while nodding. And where do you want to try beep the most? If we're doing it anyway, what does it matter where we do it? Asked Shen Jingzhou. Lobinka. Oh, Binka. Baijian Peak, Lobinka said evenly. Now that hurt my head. The The room fell silent. Baijian Peak Training Grounds, Lo Bingke said calmly. The fuck? Thought Shen Qingqiu. Is it your life that we don't care about? Or your fate? Or your face? Thought Shang Qinghua. What sort of arrangements do you have about beeping? If it hurts, then he has to tell me, said Lo Bingke. He absolutely has to. No crying aloud, said Shen Qingqiu. Say, have you guys misunderstood the implication behind the word agreement? Asked Shang Qinghua. Who's speaking? If you can't have a person's heart, then you should at least have their body. Do you approve or disapprove of this line of thinking? I don't know what's happening. That's a loser's, a degenerate's take on things, Shen Qingqiu said contemptuously. Without the heart, what use is the body? Lo Bingke asked. Oh, such a good boy. Give me a second. To reorient myself. I'm also very warm, but this chapter is almost done. Actually, let me put on the AC real quick before I completely crash out. Okay. I'm even more warm than usual because I have these gloves on and they're trapping the heat inside of my hands. Inside of my hands. What's in the hand? No, don't sing that song. Where was I? Oh my god, okay. We're at the top of page 348. Shang Qinghua thought sadly about how, under his pen, Lo Bingke had obviously been a peerless stallion who'd pursued only his desire to beep, and the number of women he'd beeped had definitely been in the double digits. He'd known that the Lo Bingke in this strange world had turned gay, but exactly how had he fallen, step by step, to this point? If your partner was... Jesus Christ. Why do they... Okay, if your partner was raped by a thug, what would you do? Asked Shang Qinghua. He really is a porn author, isn't he? The question was way too surreal. Shen Qingqiu was speechless for a long time until he said, "Who would be stupid enough..." Guys, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Who would be stupid enough to rape him? Even if you were trying to die, at least look for a better looking way to do it. Lo Binghe rolled up his sleeves, then said in a leisurely manner, "I turn them into human swine and throw them into the endless abyss. Then I think of some other methods by which to slowly punish and play with them for 10 years before finally killing them. If a good friend said to you, 'I'm very lonely, so just for tonight, would you,' and asked to be intimate, would you agree?" "I don't have such shameless friends," Lo Binghe said indifferently. "I don't need friends." Okay, but him and Mo Beijun would like you. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I just want to watch two buff beefy men go at it. Yes. Head lowered, Shen Qingqiu scraped at the tea leaves in his cup, then took a sip. "I also don't have such friends." "Really?" Lo Binghe said doubtfully. Lu Shishu wouldn't say that kind of thing." Tea sprayed all over the floor. Shang Qinghua, who had had his upper body sprayed with tea, had gone to change his clothes and returned, and now continued his questions. "Do you think you're good at sex? What about your partner?" Shen Jingzhou let out a dry laugh. Luo Bingke looked on the verge of tears. Shen Jingzhou saw his melancholic expression, miserable beyond words, and pity filled his heart. He turned back toward Shang Qinghua and said angrily, "Isn't it obvious that this is a sensitive topic? Pass." Press X to Two beefy men doing what? You know, just having a good, fun time together. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Shen Jingzhou saw his melancholic expression, miserable beyond words, and pity filled his heart. He turned back to Shang Qinghua and said angrily, "Wait, what is happening? Didn't I just read that? Stop it back at the past." Sorry, I just realized what they were talking about. What they were fucking talking about. Shang Qinghua picked at his ear. Okay, it's all my bad. Are you interested in S&M? What's that? Shizun, why are there more and more things I don't understand? Oh, he's asking whether you like me hitting or scolding you, or if you would feel anything if I pricked you with a needle or burned you with a flame, said Shen Jingzhou. Luo Bingke looked a little bashful, then said softly, "As long as it's Shizun, how could this disciple dislike it?" Shang Qinghua understood. He picked up the pen and with a flourish wrote, "Luo Bingke has great interest in S&M. What's the most agonizing thing about sex?" "He's too small," said Luo Bingke. "He's too big," said Shen Jingzhou. Shang Qinghua silently swore at this master and disciple, calling them shameless, then wrote with another flourish, "Go figure it out yourselves." Has the bottom ever actively tried to seduce the top? Shen Jingzhou pointed at himself. Me? Do I look like that kind of a person? It's hard to say because you also looked pretty straight. Shang Qinghua murmured. Where do you like to be kissed? Luo Bingke said, forehead, fingers, lips, everywhere. Honestly, this child can't kiss, Shen Jingzhou said helplessly. He only knows how to bite. What's the best way to please your partner during beep? Why are you beeping it sometimes but not other times? Like, you straight up, it's not beeped at other times. I don't understand why you're beeping it. Praise him for improving, said Shen Jingzhou. Not crying, said Luo Bingke. Shang Qinghua's brush flew like the wind, and he absent-mindedly added another line. Master Shen's standards are so low. What do you think about those times? Who issued this questionnaire? Said Shen Jingzhou. Do they have any experience at all? At that kind of time, your mind is utterly blank. What else can you do? What else can you think about? Do you remove your own clothes, or does your partner help remove them for you? If I let him do it, I wouldn't have many clothes left to wear, Shen Jingzhou said. Shizun, how can I control my strength at times like that? Luo Bingke said defensively. How many times in one night? How many times? Shen Jingzhou asked. No, I mean, do people really make a point to count that? Shang Qinghua turned the page, ready to keep asking, but Luo Bingke had long since lost his patience. No, wait, what? Yeah, okay. But Luo Bingke had long since lost his patience and smiled coldly. If you want to know that much, I'll count today, then tell Shang Shishu later. That will do. The last question, really, it's the last one. What do you most want to say to your partner? Master and disciple glanced at each other. Shen Jingzhou waved his fan. We're done here. Bingke, let's go home and eat. All right, Luo Bingke said obediently. He wrapped an arm around Shen Jingzhou's shoulder, then kicked open the door and left. A strong wind gusted into the room, blowing over a pile of questionnaire sheets Shang Qinghua had just completed, until they had drifted all over the floor. Shang Qinghua's lips twitched uncontrollably. He squatted down and picked up a couple of sheets, but after some time, he suddenly fell to his knees. Cucumber bro, you scam artist. That's definitely not what you most want to say to your partner. My quest... Master System, please don't deduct points so quickly. There's only one question that didn't get answered. Cucumber bro, you fucker! The end. Well, not the end, but the end of the chapter. The end of the chapter. Stupid shit. Stupid fucking shit. That's some stupid shit. That's some stupid shit. Oh my god, that was stupid shit. I love it. I love it. We will read the next chapter next week because my throat is starting to hurt quite a bit. Wax play. Oh my god, Bingo would love wax play. Holy shit. Oh my god. Alright. Here's your here's your weekly your reading. Close your ears if you don't want to hear it. Thanks for reading. Thanks for stopping by. You can leave now if you don't want to hear this. I don't like doing this. I need to up the points on this redeem. It's already at 1,000. I should put it way more. I should put it way higher. I should put it at 20,000. I'm gonna put it at 20k. Just watch. Arara. Okay. I will see you later. I'll see you later. I'll see you later. I'll see you later. For Blue Sites viewers, I'll be streaming tomorrow, but at like 3 p.m. PST, not my usual time. But yeah, I'll be there. And then Sunday, and then back to Tuesday, I guess, again. So yeah, have a good rest of your day. I don't think I'm gonna raid right now. I'm just gonna hop off. Rest my hands. Get a good rest, and I will see you later. Okay? Have a very, very good, wonderful rest of your day. All right? Okay. Bye bye.